You guys, welcome back to Gotta Love Them Movies, your place to talk about the stuff that you love. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brown. I am here all the time. And you guys, today is a special day. Today is a special day for multiple reasons. One, we didn't do a show last week. You probably remember we didn't do a show last week, and it was frustrating and it was confusing, and I had to work. You know that I have the flight attendant job. I'm not going to tell you what company I work for, but I had to go. I couldn't get out of it. It was one of those things. But I had 2 weddings to attend this last weekend. You guys know that my wedding is coming up October 1st. I can officially release the date, October 1st, getting married here in New York in Central Park, and it's going to be awesome. But even more exciting than attending 2 weddings in one weekend is our guest today. He's a very special friend of mine. I've known him for a very long time. He lives in Los Angeles. He's a filmmaker. We are going to be talking about his newest upcoming project. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my very good friend, Alex Watson.
Woo!
Woo, 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 woo!
What up, everybody? Woo, Azuka.
How you doing, man? Long time no see. What's going on?
I know, man. Oh, just living life out here in good old Hollywood.
The Holly Weird.
The Holly Weird. Yep, that's what we prefer. It's good, man. Things are kind of opening up. Still trying to be safe, you know. Still trying to keep things, good. But I am feeling a little more sane. Seeing movies in theaters safely distanced has been nice, and man, it's crazy how seeing a movie in theater has helped my mental health.
Isn't that like it's such a refreshing moment when you get to like go back to the theaters after it's been so long, and you get to have that feeling of it's that familiarity of sitting in the seat, of seeing just like it doesn't even have to be a good movie. It's just this tale, because I think the first movie I saw was Tenet. No, it was
nice.
New Mutants. It was New Mutants, and then we saw
nice.
Tenet. And just like, what was your first movie back in theaters?
A Quiet Place, or Quiet Place 2.
Oh, so you really waited a long time.
Yes, I did, and it was that was a great one. And you know, at first when Jim was when he was talking about, I love how I said his first name like I know who he is.
Jim.
I don't want to lie and try and even pronounce Krasinski.
Oh, John Krasinski.
John Krasinski. I understand why he waited for the theater, because if I watched I still would have felt very intense as I watched it in my living room, but seeing that thing in theaters, man, is just and one thing that I will say that why I think that's such an awesome experience is because sound is just, you know, I have a great sound bar and I have a pretty nice TV, because watching movies is a big deal to me. Surprise. But it's just having the sound, having just, you know, it's dark and it's like, and depending on the movie, seeing it with people, like, I'm really excited to see Black Widow, because that's one of my favorite parts about watching Marvel movies is with people, because everyone's like, yeah, and cheering and having a good time.
Like, even to that point, I want to go back and kind of touch on for a moment what you were talking about with Quiet Place, because I had a very similar experience with 2001: A Space Odyssey. I have owned that movie for quite a long time, just because it's one of those like, oh, it's a classic. Oh, it's one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made. And so I went ahead and purchased it, and I sat down to watch it, and I'm like, what? Come on. What are you, greatest sci-fi movie ever? Come on. What are you talking about? And I tried to sit down and watch it 3 times. I just could not get through it. I did not like that movie at all. And then this was a couple of years ago. A VO friend of mine, Andy Danish, who's actually been on the show before, he and I went to go see it in IMAX. And I was like, you know what? Like, everybody says how great this movie is. I want to give it one more chance. And we went to go see it in IMAX. and it was a transformative experience. It completely changed what I thought the movie was going to be. Sound,
That's awesome.
environment. Because that movie was specifically designed to be seen in a theater.
Sure, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. And I will say, too, like, I had to have been very, very young, but I remember seeing Jurassic Park in the theater for the, like, because, like, I had to have seen it as a kid, but maybe I was just, because that came out in, like, what, 1994?
93.
93, yeah. See, I was only 3 years old, so I don't remember it. But I saw it in my 20s, and, like, blown away. And obviously that movie just, I mean, that movie's great no matter what. But seeing it in theaters and just hearing the T-Rex roar in theaters
it takes your breath away.
Holy, yeah, exactly.
Oh, it takes your breath away. Yeah. Oh, it's insane. Hey, speaking of movies, and I'd also like to talk about the background that you have behind you now. Watson, you are a filmmaker. You moved out from, forgive me, southern Utah out to Los Angeles to become a full-time filmmaker. This is what you do. This is your profession. This is your life's work. You have a new project coming up called Bundy Manor. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of horror movies, thrillers, and I am currently making a movie called Bundy Manor. We're kickstarting for it right now. It's about a family who moves into a small town where a man who lives there runs a very famous haunted house because he films his victims that he takes through his haunted house and puts them online. But it's an extreme haunted house where he's flat out torturing people. And people get it for the thrills and chills. But I kind of had a thought of, because there's plenty of these places all across America. And my thought process is, well, how easy would it be for one of them to go too far? And so, there have been a few movies. I haven't seen them because I don't want to be inspired by them, that have dealt with the haunted house is actually a awful, or is actually killing people. But this one more focuses on the person. It more focuses on, like, he's not a mask. Like, he doesn't have a mask, and he's not like just trying to like, you don't hear him speak ever. Like, this guy is out in the community. Holy crap, I just realized we hit, by looking at your thing, I did not realize we got another $1,000 donation. You were
over 2/3 of the way there, sir. You were over 2/3 of the way to your goal.
Wow, that is fantastic. Yeah, we just got 300 backers today. And then, it looks like someone donated 1,000. So thank you, whoever did that. But so as you can see, we're kickstarting for it. We have attached an actress, Sylvia Sage. She's fantastic. We only have 16 days left. We're doing I don't know, am I allowed to talk about I know you have a giveaway, but am I allowed to talk about the giveaway we're doing too?
Of course, yes, please. Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, cool. So, if you're a fan of Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger, or if you're just a horror fan in general, this is for you. If you donate between now and Saturday, you will be entered to win a personalized cameo from Robert Englund, as well as a horror movie fan bundle pack, which comes with Funko Pops, comes with tons of treats, and tons of horror gifted stuff. So, fun stuff.
Dude, that's incredible. First of all, congratulations for actually
Thank
making
you.
It. You raised $40,000, $41,000.
Now,
you raised.
I just want to say, not all me. I have an amazing team, and a lot of awesome people like yourself. You've also donated, and it just has meant a lot. I could not have done this without everybody. So, but thank you. I appreciate
every
your
great
kind
team
words.
needs a great leader, and that is you, sir. So, hats off to you. Hats off to you. So, you guys, if you have not already done so, please head over to Kickstarter. Look up Bundy Manor. If you just Google Bundy Manor, that's how I found this page. It's really easy to find. Just Google
good.
Bundy Manor. Yeah, it's really cool. Watson has put together a really cool promo on the page. I was watching it just before the show started. It's really fun. Editing is really good. It's really cool. So really exciting stuff. Yeah, so more to come about Bundy Manor.
Yes.
But you guys, let's if you haven't already done so, please click that subscribe button at the top right-hand corner. The more subscribers the channel gets, the more watched content the channel gets, and with the more watched content, hopefully I get to make this show my full-time job. So I appreciate your love and support. If you guys have any questions or comments, anything that you want to talk about specifically, send me an email at gottalovethemmovies@gmail.com, and as long as it's family-friendly, we'll make your comment or question a main topic here on the show. So, I mean, that's what we do. We just talk about stuff. See right here where it says, what do you want to talk about? Leave a comment below right there. All right, guys, let's jump into a little bit of movie news.
What?
All right, you guys. Our first topic isn't necessarily movie news, as it is a giveaway. A lot of you guys have been asking, when is Zack Snyder's Justice League coming out on Blu-ray, on 4K, on DVD? We know that it's been released in other foreign countries. It was released in the UK, it was released in Germany, it was released in France, it was released in Australia, but it had not been announced that it was being released in the United States. We knew it was coming. Warner Media put out press release statements saying that it's coming, but we had no idea when. We know that they've delayed it because they want people to subscribe to HBO Max. This is a no-brainer, but we finally have the release date. It's September 7th. You can pre-order it now on Amazon, on Target, on Walmart, wherever you prefer to purchase your Blu-rays, your DVDs, your 4Ks. But here today, you guys, we're doing a giveaway of Zack Snyder's Justice League in 4K. This offer only extends to those in the continental United States. And by continental United States, it is also for Alaska and Hawaii. So if you are in the United States, or a U.S. territory, this offer is available to you. We're doing a giveaway. There are two things that you need to do to qualify. Number one, make sure that you jump over to the Kickstarter page for Bundy Manor. Please donate at least $5, a bare minimum of $5. That's all you need to do to qualify. Links are all down in the description below. So jump over to Kickstarter, donate a $5 minimum to the Bundy Manor Kickstarter, and that will, first of all, qualify you. Send me an email. Send me an email of your receipt to gottalovethemmovies@gmail.com. Send me your receipt for your at least $5 minimum donation to Bundy Manor, and that will be the first thing to qualify you to win this Blu-ray 4K. Second thing, jump down in the comment section below. Tell me, what is my favorite movie of all time? If you've been watching this channel at all, I've been very vocal as to what my favorite movie of all time is. It's not in every single video. It's been peppered through, but I have been very vocal in saying what my favorite movie of all time is. So if you think that you know what my favorite movie of all time is, jump down to the comment section below, type it in, and again, send me that email of receipt for donating a minimum of $5 to the Bundy Manor Kickstarter program, and you will qualify. First person who gets it wins. That's it. That's how we're doing it. First come, first serve. So if you know what my favorite movie is, jump down to the comment section, type it in, and then jump over to the Bundy Manor Kickstarter. Send in at least a bare minimum of $5. Send me your ticket of receipt at gottalovethemmovies@gmail.com. And the first person who does both of these things wins. That's it. That's it. Send me your email. I'm sorry. Send me your, I'll have your email, but send me your address through Gotta Love Them Movies, and I will send you a Blu-ray copy. 4K. Just want to, so we all know, 4K. It has the Blu-ray in there. Watson,
thank you for doing that, by the way. That's amazing. Thank you.
Well, I mean, thank you for being a part of this as well. Have you had a chance to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, and are you looking forward to seeing this on Blu-ray?
Yeah, I did. I had to watch because we started it late on a I think it was like a Thursday, and then we were like, we had to pick it up again on Friday. But I did, and honestly, I really enjoyed it, especially over the original. And you know, I'm always rooting for Zack Snyder. I can't say that I'm always like, you know, that I love every movie he does, but I am an adamant fan just because I love oh my gosh, and then of course I get it wrong. Day of the Dead? Nope. Dawn of the Dead.
Zack Snyder's, yeah.
Zack Snyder's, and that was like one of my first zombie movies that I was just like, man, like I want this to happen. So I'm always pushing, and I did see Army of the Dead. I personally liked it. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. So that's awesome. This is a great giveaway, and I'm excited for people to do that. So, yeah. What did you think about it?
I wasn't the biggest fan of the Snyderverse when it first started. Man of Steel was okay. I took a few issues with that movie, but on the whole, it was fine. Batman versus Superman, it took me a long time to warm up to. That film. I wasn't the biggest fan. I thought it was really dumb. But I don't know. Over the years, I've just kind of been, it's okay. Because it's not going to be the definitive. There is no definitive version of the Justice League. There is no definitive Batman. It was just a movie, and it's going to be the first of many incarnations that we see of both Batman and Superman on the big screen at the same time. So, it was fine. And then I saw Joss Whedon's Justice League, or the Justice League, as people are calling it. I saw Justice League. I really did not care for that movie at all. But the 4-hour runtime, I think, was a bit lengthy for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think it would have done much better if it was 3 hours or 3.5 hours. I think the 4-hour runtime was a bit too lengthy, but I do agree the extended runtime definitely helped that movie a lot. It gave us backstory. It really helped us understand the characters and their motivations.
Cyborg.
Yes, like it's a cyborg movie.
Yeah,
it's a cyborg movie.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
The bringing back. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, just the bringing back of Superman didn't seem contrived in Zack Snyder's Justice League, whereas it seems so contrived in Justice League.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, it's a fun balance, because a lot of people think, oh, they were just running up to catch Marvel, and I don't think that was maybe, I don't know, where you kind of mentioned is like, because that's the best thing about the comics is like, man, you got so many different versions of Batman. You have so many different versions of Superman, where he has kids, doesn't have kids, he's died, he's come back, he's fighting this person, and so I kind of like that idea, and I kind of like them. I wonder how it was going to translate to how do I say, maybe not as avid fans. Like, I wonder if people are just going to like watch the new Robert Pattinson Batman and be like, hey, where's Harley Quinn? And it's like, well, but this isn't the, but either way, I think I'm going to enjoy that movie a lot.
Yeah, so. You're going to get some of that. That's inevitable. I mean, like when people went to go see Deadpool, they thought, wait a second, where's Captain America? And also, why is Deadpool cursing so much? So, people fair. People are going to be people. But anyway, guys, big question for you is, how excited are you to be put into the running for, to win a 4K steelbook of Zack Snyder's Justice League? Again, don't forget, what is my favorite movie of all time? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know what you think my favorite movie of all time is. Number 2, donate a minimum of $5 to the Kickstarter, and I just had it up. Hold on. I just had it. There we go. A minimum of $5 to the Bundy Manor Kickstarter. And send me proof of receipt over at gottalovethammovies@gmail.com. First come, first serve. Whoever does it first, you win a copy of Zack Snyder's Justice League in 4K on Steelbook. And we'll figure out the details later. Yeah. Anyway, guys, let's move on to our next bit of movie news today. Earlier today, the very first trailer. Now, we had an announcement trailer that came like a month ago, but we have our very first actual full-length trailer of Addams Family 2.
Ooh. Did you see the first one?
I did. It wasn't as much of a train wreck as I expected it to be.
Yeah, there's some good moments.
It's also not a great movie. I mean, like, I get it. It's a kid's movie. They're taking Addams Family and doing a kid's version of it. But I still think that there are aspects of the Addams Family that are drastically being overlooked and misused and forgotten. Like, horror things of who they are.
Yeah. And they have, like, an amazing cast attached to this movie. But I also... And I to death, but I even would have loved. Now this is a little bit, blasphemous because I treasure the original movies and of course the TV show, but I would have preferred a live action remake, especially attached to it. I think it's really fun, and some of the best moments are. You're right, they're not really kid friendly moments, but. The family is so fun in the sense that they are absolutely just evil, happy people.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you speak of a live action remake. We know that Tim Burton is doing a live action television show.
On Wednesday, right?
Yeah, based on the life of Wednesday, most likely starring Christina Ricci. That's yet to be absolutely confirmed, but probably playing Morticia. Yes, I mean, there's things coming down the pike, but I agree with you. It just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Man.
And I did give him some props of going to a new direction that I didn't expect, but the humor, and maybe they're just trying to make it different, which they are. That's obviously what you have to do when you're trying to make something like this. Is you got to make it stand out. But I was hoping for at least a little bit more of the, hey, Wednesday, come completely normal people. Wait, I just have a severed head. What are you talking? I don't know. I love that contrast, and they did do some of that. But this new trailer looks really interesting.
It's just Addams Family on a road trip. It's just Addams Family on a road trip. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You say you're not going to watch it?
Oh no, I'll watch it. I'll probably watch it for sure.
Same. I'll check it out, but it's one of those things that I'm not going to be excited for.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, AMC A-List, for letting me go see movies that I don't want to see for free.
Oh, I love my AMC list,
man.
It's
the best, man. It's the best. A big question for you guys is, have you seen the Addams Family 2 trailer? What are your thoughts? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in between? Does this trailer get you excited? Do you like this incarnation of the animated Addams Family? Maybe you don't. I don't know. Neither one of us do. It's not our favorite thing in the world. We'll go check it out. But at the same time, maybe you are going to love this thing. I don't know. Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, you guys. Our next bit of movie news today. It's been a little bit back and forth with Patty Jenkins. Is she directing Rogue Squadron? Is she not directing Rogue Squadron? Well, a few days ago in The Hollywood Reporter, she did an interview with The Hollywood Reporter And, you know, they were talking about a whole bunch of different things about movies being pushed back, what her thoughts are of Wonder Woman 1984, you know, that whole debacle in theaters, on HBO Max, live stream, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that they touched on was what's going on with Rogue Squadron, her upcoming Star Wars movie. Well, Patty Jenkins had a very interesting little bit of information to share with us. And as soon as the page loads and I can scroll down to the actual quote. All right, so Patty Jenkins says, it's going amazing. I had been on it already for 6 months before I even announced that, so we're pretty deep into it. And by that, she means they're deep into production. We're finishing a script, we're crewing up, and it's all going wonderful. I'm so excited about the story and excited that we are the next chapter of Star Wars, which is such a responsibility and such an opportunity to really start some new things. It's really exciting in that way. So, on the surface, this sounds awesome. But I would also like to add the caveat, breaking news, filmmakers excited to make film. Watson, you're a filmmaker. You get jazzed, you get excited anytime, much like myself, whenever we have a project to work on. Whenever you're thick in the middle of, like right now, I'm currently writing season 2 of my terrible 90s sitcom TV show that I just do for YouTube, starring my cat.
That's so fun. That's so
but
fun.
you have like an actual legit production happening right now. What are your initial knee-jerk reactions when you hear Patty Jenkins say something like this?
Well, it's just like it's the tip of the iceberg of that's happening, you know, and like there's so much I bet that's going on that just. Because, you know, like when people ask me, and not that I'm Patty Jenkins, no way am I even close to like Patty Jenkins or anything like that. But when someone's like, hey, how's the film going? And I have to say like, yeah, it's going good. Kickstarter's going good. We're finding crew, locations. But see, that does not give it justice of like all the hard work that I'm sure she's doing and what she, you know, and again, it's not even close to what I'm doing. As you're saying, just like my thoughts and feelings. But yeah, I feel pressure with making this movie just because we have 300 backers. But then I think about Patty Jenkins and have Star Wars, you know, and that weight. Although I do hope that she doesn't feel what I think I love about the one-offs of the or the spin-offs, whatever you could say, is that there still is plenty of pressure, but it seems like a lot more pressure is applied on the main trilogy saga, whatever. So I'm hoping, because I do feel like there are some moments where they kind of buckle under pressure and try and do some fan service and things like that. So I'm hoping this movie is going to just, hey, Patty Jenkins is a great filmmaker. Yeah, I wasn't super happy about the second Wonder Woman, but it's you know, I think she's an amazing filmmaker.
Sounds like you have the invisible jet flying above you right now. Speaking of Wonder Woman.
I am so sorry. Yeah, I live right by the Burbank airport, and so I try and mute anytime I hear them fly.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but I'm really excited, and I do agree. I think they're probably still a long ways away if they're still crewing up, but it's still exciting, and I love the video games.
Well, we know that they're doing she and Patty Jenkins, she and Gal Gadot are doing the Cleopatra movie first, and then they're going to be doing Rogue Squadron, and then they're doing Wonder Woman 3. So I mean, she's got a lot of films on her plate right now, and she has to get through Cleopatra before she can really really sink her teeth into this.
Yeah, exactly, and so. A lot going on, but I think that exactly. I think that's a great point. Is like I don't think you can really once you're filming. I think that's when things should get exciting because a lot could happen. Like they could cancel still. And I don't want that. Please don't cancel this movie. I'm very excited, but they could cancel. They could, but once filming starts, it's very rare for that stuff to get canceled.
I agree. Big question for you guys is, how excited are you for Rogue Squadron? Does this announcement, I guess, quote, really, from Patty Jenkins get you more excited? Where do you think the story is going to go? We know that Rogue Squadron is essentially going to be a Star Wars version of Top Gun, but how close to that do you think that they're going to come? What spirit do you think they're going to embody in this movie? Do you think they're going to touch a little bit in the Skywalker saga, or do you think it's going to be a completely separate thing that also happens within the Star Wars universe? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Jump on down to the comments section below. All right, you guys, we have one last bit of movie news to cover. And again, it's not so much news as it is an email question. We received an email the other day from Nerd Zone, longtime watcher of the Nerd Zone, of the show, excuse me, longtime watcher of the show.
You're changing it. He's watched so long.
No, I watch Nerd Zone so much. No, but Nerd Zone comments on a lot of stuff, and he's a longtime watcher of the show. And this show would not be what it is if it was not for Nerd Zone's contributions. So a huge thank you to Nerd Zone. Nerd Zone has this email to say. It's a little lengthy, so stick with us. But I think there's a lot here to unpack and a lot to talk about. Nerd Zone says, so we all love Sony. Their tech is outstanding, they're amazing at making video games, and they own one of the biggest film studios in the world. But their film studio has nearly ruined some franchises, and I have a few examples. First one is the Spider-Man movies. Obviously, Spider-Man comics won't go, but if they didn't give the movie rights to Disney, the films would have went awful. Next franchise is Sonic. The bad design nearly ruined Sonic. Before you think, oh, the games would have still kept the franchise going, well, no. You see, Sega hasn't been doing a good job with creating the games, like the best Sonic game Sonic fans say is the best, including, I say me, but it's actually Nerd Zone, was a game Sega didn't even create. So if they kept the original design, we would probably have a bad situation for Sonic. Nerd Zone continues. Sony has definitely ruined Smurfs, in my opinion. Those two live-action films were awful, and the third one, I forgot about. I'm not a biggest fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as you are, Mike, but you have to admit, Sony did a bad job with the TMNT movies, and Nickelodeon has just ruined TMNT, and Nickelodeon is a Paramount company, and Paramount is a Sony company. So yeah, Sony is doing a bad job with TMNT movies and nearly ruined the franchise. There are way more franchises we could talk about. For instance, the Angry Birds, Happy Madison, but I think it shows. Don't sell your franchise to Sony. This is an email coming from the Nerd Zone, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack here. Watson.
Yes.
First of all, I want to kick it to you first. How much credence do you think Nerd Zone has in these statements, in these sentiments overall? I know we're going to go through and nitpick one by one, but do you think that there's much to talk about here, first and foremost?
I mean, yeah, I think there's a few things that Nerd Zone I think gets right. There is a few things that I think, unfortunately, as you know, at the end of the day, these are big corporations, right? And these are big companies that are trying to make money, and it does suck because they own the rights to stuff that means so much to us. I am the one to it. I'm very passionate about is Spider-Man. So when we get to that, and I have some very, interesting things when it comes to Spider-Man. And so creative things that they do on paper that I think in their mind they're like, this on paper looks like a good movie. But that's the thing about art is like you can't tell that something's going to be good, I think, ever. And when you're a machine about it, and you're not human about it, I think we get things like some of those I feel like They just thought it looked good on
I'd like to
paper
jump
and not
in
really
for a
thinking
moment
about.
if
Yeah,
you'd like to talk
please.
about specifically what it is that you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman a few years ago did an interview. I think it was a press junket for one of his upcoming movies, and somebody asked him directly what it was about X-Men Origins Wolverine that was a complete train wreck. Like, why did that movie fail spectacularly? Or like something along those lines, right? Hugh Jackman had a wonderful answer where he said, look, nobody sets out to make a bad movie. We all thought that we were putting in the effort to make something incredible, something fun. And on paper, this all seemed like a great idea. Everybody brought their A game. And sometimes your A game and my A game, and I literally just had this. Iron Man's A game. I did not plan this. He's just here. You know, you have all these different people coming together, bringing their A game, and sometimes your shade of blue and my shade of blue and Iron Man's shade of blue clash, and it just doesn't work.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know, like in their mind, they want to get the best director and they want to get the best actors, but some things you just don't see behind the scenes is like maybe that director just doesn't mesh well with those actors, or maybe this producer, you know, like kind of going back to Warner Brothers, I do feel like there are some things where the producers interfere with like the creative vision and they cut things up and but yeah, I agree. I think that's a beautiful sets out to make a bad movie.
Nobody does. I want to jump into Nerd Zone's email for a moment. Let's touch on what he says about how Sony messed up the Spider-Man movies. We're going to go through this one by one. Let's talk about Spider-Man. Let's talk about Sonic. We'll talk about the Smurfs, and then we'll talk about Ninja Turtles. Let's start with Spider-Man. Did they mess up the Spider-Man movies? Spider-Man 1 and 2, I think, universally are loved. Spider-Man 3, there was a fair amount of studio involvement that Sam Raimi wasn't happy with, but he went along with it. And then when Sony tried to push Spider-Man 4 on him, and he kept working and working and working and toiling away at what he wanted to be a great Spider-Man movie to kind of redeem what they did with Spider-Man 3, he just couldn't get it there. So they walked away. Or he walked away, and so did Tobey Maguire. So they rebooted, and I thought that was a great decision. Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield was a fun movie. Was it better than Spider-Man 1 or 2? No. But it was fun. It was a completely different flavor. Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I personally really enjoyed. I completely understand that a lot of people did not like that movie. It was one of those things that just didn't work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And now we have Tom Holland. And you know, now they're doing their own Sinister Six kind of like franchise. Arguably, who knows what it's going to actually turn out to be, but we've Kraven the Hunter coming down the pike. We have Morbius coming. Michael Morbius. Yeah.
And then they also teased Scorpion you know, at the end of I believe it was
in 2 Venom movies.
2. Yeah, and the 2 Venom movies, which supposedly they may connect. So, yeah, I think it's rough, right? Spider-Man means so much to me, and so I pretty much align exactly with what you're saying, and that they've done is let Marvel take them. Although I love those first 2 movies to death, and I think the one downside with these new movies is, since the universe is so big, this is a Spider-Man for the universe. It's not for New York. And what I love about the other movies is it very much focused on New York. I'm not from New York, or I've never lived in New York, but and then here comes another plane. Talk about that. But yeah, I think right now they're doing pretty well. I do get what he's saying, especially in the past. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's hard to explain, because I do like the Amazing Spider-Mans because they gave me Gwen Stacy. and we haven't seen Gwen Stacy in in that kind of version. True. And I think Emma Stone was great.
Let's jump on to. Yeah. I think that buzzer means that it's now time to move on to Sonic. Let's talk about Sonic for a second, because I feel like, and Nerd Zone, forgive me, I kind of feel like you might be going a little too hard on Sony for this. All in all, the Sonic movie, the first one, the only one that we got, was a financial success. So much so that they greenlit a second film. It made a decent amount of money that nobody expected it to make. Video game properties historically have a curse put on them by the god Cthulhu. Who knows? Who knows where this video game movie curse comes from? But traditionally, video game movies are very difficult to adapt into films. So it was a huge surprise that the Sonic movie worked. Did it work because the design of Sonic? Maybe because the design changed a little bit. Maybe that helps the film a little bit. But I think the film's real strength was Jim Carrey, first and foremost. And I feel that they did some fun, creative things in incorporating gameplay into the story of the movie. I don't think the character design of Sonic did all that much. It was great that they removed his teeth. I didn't like his teeth. I didn't like the way Sonic looked. I didn't like that he didn't have his gloves. His legs looked weird. All that stuff. But did they ruin the Sonic franchise? Now, I can't go into the games because I'm not all that familiar with the games. Watson, I don't know if you're more familiar with the games here, but I think my cat just
for sure
kicked my chair or something. I don't know. Weird. I don't know if you're more familiar with the games than I am, but where's Sony standing with the games, and how do you think that Sony handled the film?
I mean, the games I think are doing awesome. They just released like a throwback, but it's a whole completely built from the ground up game. With that, a lot of people think they dropped the ball. Sega dropped the ball when they did like a anniversary thing, and they teased a new game but didn't really show a lot. So I think the games are really in a great state, and I agree with you. Like I saw that movie and I had very low expectations, but I'm a huge Sonic fan. Sonic, I had a Sega growing up, and it was one of my first games I've ever played. And so I was pretty pumped to see this movie, and I love Ben Schwartz, who plays Sonic in the movie.
See, I can't stand Ben Schwartz.
Really?
No.
Oh,
we've been in the same improv sphere here in New York for a while, and we wouldn't cross paths that often, but we have crossed paths. I don't know. I'm not a like. And then when he rose to fame and everything, I'm like, well, of course he did. Of course he did.
Okay.
But I mean, like,
sure.
He's a nice guy. Like, our personalities just don't click.
I feel that. I feel that for sure. Yeah. And then I agree. Like, I think that with Jim Carrey, the movie was a little predictable, but I still laughed a lot, and I had a good, real good time. And just seeing classic Jim Carrey, we haven't seen Jim Carrey like that in forever. And so to see just, animated Jim Carrey, I don't know, this is apparently my Jim Carrey impression. It just was really cool. I think they have had a rocky start, I would say, but I think listening to fans, and I feel I had to redo that, and great, and I think I'm excited for the sequel, and I think the video games are in a uncertain trajectory, so maybe that's why it feels like it's ruined it, but I think it's doing okay.
Let's jump into the Smurfs. I have nothing to add to this conversation except that because I haven't seen any of the Smurf live action movies or even the animated third one. I haven't seen any of them. They just look terrible.
Yes,
they just look bad. I know they have not done very well. But let's talk Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. My love, my passion, my heart. Okay. So let's start from the top.
So now, is he referring to like the Michael Bay produced one?
Yes.
Or just any of them?
Yes. Michael Bay produced films. So let's start from the top. You have Sony, who owns Paramount. Paramount owns Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon owns the film rights for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Here, so it's kind of a similar situation to say Disney has done such a great job with Marvel. Not really. I mean, if you want to go ahead and say that, Disney has like the final say with what Marvel does, okay, yeah, maybe, but Disney has given Marvel Studios and Kevin. First of all, there's at the time. Now there's Bob Chapek, and then before it was Bob Iger, and then beneath him was why can't I think of anybody's names? Alan Horn,
Michael Eisner.
No, but you go to the film division. It was Alan Horn, and then it was Kevin Feige, who was president of Marvel Studios. Alan Horn was in charge of everything film and cinema at Disney, television, like all that stuff. And then it went, and you could say even Kathleen Kennedy is in charge of Lucasfilm, right? So Kathleen Kennedy is in charge of everything Lucasfilm. Kevin Feige is in charge of everything Marvel. Alan Horn oversees what everybody else is doing. And then Bob Iger, and I guess now Bob Chapek, they have very limited input. So to say that Sony has a lot of influence over the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies is a far stretch. Michael Bay had the most influence. He hired the directors. Even Nickelodeon themselves had a decent amount of influence there, because Nickelodeon Studios, they had the final say there, right? I mean, not ultimate final say, but it was really up to Nickelodeon because it's their IP. They need to protect their property. TMNT doesn't belong to Paramount per se, but it's produced by Paramount. So all of that is to say, Sony didn't, in my opinion, Sony didn't ruin Ninja Turtles. Michael Bay ruined Ninja Turtles, and Nickelodeon took a calculated risk. I don't blame Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon did what I feel that they needed to do to try and reinvigorate this franchise. Hey, let's do something completely different. If it upsets the older fan base like myself, okay, that's a calculated risk we're willing to take, because this might be like the Billie Eilish of Ninja Turtles, like this incarnation, right? We're trying to hit a younger crowd. We're trying to get more of try to keep that tubular feel, but let's really update the Turtles. And guess what? It didn't work. It didn't work I'm not going to say it didn't work at all. Like, it still made money, but it was not a critical or fan success.
Right. And you got to also remember, like, you're trying to make a movie about turtles who protect New York City. And I love that idea. I think it's so great, and I have a very deep passion, but that's a hard thing to do. Yeah. And now I do believe they're doing a new one with Seth Rogen. And I
animated.
think that's going to be...
animated.
Oh, it's animated. Okay. Yeah. I mean, still, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll... we'll have to see, I guess. But yes, I love that. And I think that's something that's kind of hard for us to see because, the very beginning of the movie, what's the first thing we see? Sony, right? Yeah. And then we see, because they do get all the credit, unfortunately, but for the good and the bad. But I totally agree. I think that's exactly right.
Now, let's go back. I just want to recap really quickly. I think it stands to the individual IPs, to credit the individual IPs. Spider-Man, the Smurfs, Sonic the Hedgehog, Ninja Turtles. You even mentioned Nerd Zone, the Happy Madison productions, or I have a whole other theory about Happy Madison Productions because it's like cheeseburger, right? Everybody loves a good cheeseburger. Is it smart? Is it clever? Is it intelligent? No, but it plays to the very base audience. What was the other IP you had in there? Angry Birds. Same thing. It's not smart. It's not clever. It's just it's cheeseburgers. It's not steak. It's not filet mignon. They're just cheeseburgers, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it stands as a monument, essentially, to each of these IPs. They can withstand, even Batman, I'll throw Batman into the argument as well. They can withstand terrible, terrible films, horrible video games. People, look at Superman. For a very long time, ever since Superman 4, Superman 3 was a little rocky, but ever since Superman 4, Superman was a joke. There was a musical in the 70s called Up in the Sky. It's Superman, and it was just a complete train wreck. You thought Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark was a train wreck. This was the original train wreck, right?
Yeah.
Like, so many things come out of the woodwork to ruin these franchises. Maybe Sony Pictures is in the conversation, but it's like these IPs are so strong on their own, you can't kill them. You can maybe tarnish their reputation a little bit. Indiana Jones 4, a movie I refuse to acknowledge exists. Blues Brothers 2000, a movie I refuse to acknowledge that exists. You can't tarnish the original reputation of what it is.
Exactly. And and that ultimately, like, what's going to keep these movies going is that passion. So I will say, Nerd Zone, like, keep that going. But I do think we just need to make sure that our anger is directed towards the right. And some of your points were very valid. I'm not trying to deny that. But ultimately, I think if we want to keep these movies alive, and if you're very still passionate like me about Spider-Man and Mike about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we just got to keep talking about them, and we just got to keep loving them, even if they mess up movies, and we will get something that we absolutely love.
We have to fight for it. I agree. We have to fight for it. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts about all of this? Do you have a different take on this? Do you think that Sony actually is indeed ruining a lot of IPs that they have under their banner right now? Do you think that there's something that we as fans can do to step up? I know we did that with Sonic. We kind of stepped out and we were like, nope, you need to change the look of Sonic. Do you think there's anything that we as fans can do? Do you think we should stay out of it? Do you think that we should let creatives be creative and we'll just kind of go on this ride together and vote with our dollar bucks? What are your thoughts? I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Jump on down to the comment section below. Okay, before we jump in and take our live questions, let's jump back over to Watson for a second. I have you on retainer for another 5 minutes. How are you doing on time, sir?
Great. So far, so good. Everything's looking clear.
All right. If that changes, you holler, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, with all that down and out of the way, let's jump in and take some of your live questions.
It's alive! It's alive!
All right, you guys, you have been firing in live comments and questions all show long. And now let's jump in and take some of those live questions. Let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. Our first live question comes from Allison Brady. Allison Brady says, "What up?" Well, what is up, Allison Brady? I'm guessing, Watson, this is directed towards you. Do you know Allison?
I do know Allison, yes. Thank you, Allison, for jumping on. You're a treasure, as always, for supporting us. So, yes, I am up. Or what is up? The ceiling. And planes
and those airplanes
that keep flying over.
Yes. Exactly. You have a Quinjet flying over your head right now.
Every second of every.
Wild Elite Gamer Channel says, and again, I'm trying to keep this family friendly here, you guys. Says, oh darn, over 2/3. Yeah, that's right. Wild Elite Gamer.
Oh, talking
about Kickstarter. Yeah, that's right. You are Watson. You have raised here. Let's jump back over to the Kickstarter page real quick. Let's see what you're up to currently. If I can bring this up. $41,800. You were over 2/3 of the way there, kickstarting Bundy Manor, a film you were currently working on.
That is so crazy. And like I look at that number and and then it's important to look at the number below it, right? And just be like, 304 people believe in this project, and believe in our team. And you all are awesome. Thank you for pointing that out. I am also excited.
This is so cool, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump back in. Let's see. Tim Drake. Wow. Tim Drake is watching the show. Woo! If it's the same Tim Drake, I'm thinking, who eventually, things didn't end too well for Tim Drake in the comics, did they?
Yeah, looking at
Fair.
but yeah, some
Fair.
of them.
Tim Drake says this film sounds so rad. Yeah, I mean, like, just Watson, can you just give us another brief synopsis as to what Bundy Manor is, and just tell us a little bit more about it?
Of course. So it's about a family who moves into a small town where a famous extreme haunted house is there, and is run by a very charming, loved. He's very loved in the community, and things start not adding up, and a mystery unfolds, and they learn that he's going too far in his haunted house. So yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly.
Stay tuned for more. Yeah, it sounds like such a great concept. It's the kind of thing that, like, because I enjoy haunted houses. I do. I love I love going to haunted houses. But guess what? This may come as a shock to you, sir. I don't like watching scary movies. Scary movies. There's something about, like, when the filmmaker instills fear in, or like that feeling of dread in the viewer, in the watcher, in the cinema goer. That, because I get so invested, I get so caught up and wrapped up in these movies. That's why I love Avengers so much. It's high action, high octane. It pulls you in. You get to go on this journey with Iron Man, with Captain America. You get to go on an adventure with Indiana Jones. You get to fly through outer space with Captain Picard or Luke Skywalker. You get to go on these incredible adventures, and I get so emotionally invested in them. So when I become emotionally invested in a horror film, guess what? Freddy Krueger isn't just after you. He's after me.
And that's a good point. I feel
that dread, that terror, that fright stays with me. I went to go see It Chapter 1 when it first came out in theaters, because I watched all the trailers for it, and while it looked, a little creepy, a little scary, I figured this has more of a Stand By Me feel than it does like an actual horror film. So I did my research, I did my homework, I watched all the YouTube videos, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go watch this movie. Boy, oh boy, was that a bad idea. 4 months. I'm not even joking. 4 months I slept in my bedroom, whom I shared a room with. Like, it was a one-bedroom apartment, and there were two guys living in it, and I had to convince my roommate, please let me sleep with the lights on. Please, like, that movie scared me so bad. So bad.
Yeah, see, for me, like, what I love about horror movies is, like, I grew up as a kid just terrified of everything. Like, I remember watching E.T. for the first time, and I couldn't get through it, especially that first scene where he's going through the cornfield. I couldn't do it because I was just terrified the whole time. And so, but once I started to get into like slasher films, right, and 80s slashers, there's just something about the music, the feeling you get of like, to me, it feels like I'm in a haunted house, right? Every time I watch a movie, it feels like I'm in a haunted house. And like I said, I think my favorite part is the atmosphere and the music, and then the lore, which there's going to be a lot of that cool stuff in mine. BundyManorMovie.com, baby.
I love it. Let's jump back into the comments here. Nerdzone says, OMG, I'm late. Hey, better late than never, man. Better late than never. Thanks for sending in previous email and giving us stuff to talk about. Nerdzone says, dear heavens, and again, I'm trying to keep things family friendly around here. Dear heavens, they're making an Addams Family 2. I know, right? The first one was so bad. I remember the main villain was a D-list Martha Stewart. I'll tell you, I don't even remember who the villain was. That is how non-memorable that film was to me. Watson, for you, how not memorable?
I literally didn't remember who the main villain was until Nerdzone just said that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, which again just sucks because I think the cast is perfect. It's just I think it's more tailored to kids and not really to the larger fan base.
Which I guess overall, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just,
Yeah.
you see these IPs that you love so much, and you just say, "Oh, I want to be a part of this again," and it's not meant for you. And so there's this feeling of like being left out of being not invited to the birthday party, but you show up anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, exactly.
Nerdzone goes on to say, let's scroll down a little bit. Nerdzone says, if anyone is curious for gaming news, Nintendo has announced a new Switch model with a 7-inch LED screen and better tabletop stand, which is similar to a Microsoft Surface laptop. I know you hate games, Mike. Again, full disclosure, I don't hate games. It's just not my thing. I'm not a gamer. You would think that I would be a gamer. I'm just not. Watson, are you a gamer? And have you heard about the new Switch?
Absolutely. I am a huge gamer. I got my PS5, my PC, my Xbox. I have my Switch upstairs. I do not discriminate. I love games no matter where they come from. I am very excited about this Switch news, especially because Breath of the Wild 2, the new Legend of Zelda game's coming out next year. So I probably won't upgrade to the new Switch until that gets closer, because that's really kind of what I'm going for. But yeah, very excited about that Switch. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah. Nerdzone says, by the way, what? Oh, it's probably in reference to the previous comment. Nerdzone says, I'm excited for Rogue Squadron. There was actually a Rogue Squadron game of the N64 and GameCube. Interesting. Watson, are you familiar with this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Rogue Squadron, there was like he was saying, there's an original game. They actually just came out with a brand new one. It doesn't really, or it does have a storyline. It's a pretty nice storyline. So, I don't think this is going to be based on the games or anything like that, but it is fun to see, and it's VR compatible. So, I'm just saying, I don't know if you get motion sick, but it's pretty awesome to be in a cockpit of a X-Wing or a TIE fighter.
Watson, I'm going to have a personal conversation with you for 10 seconds. Do you know my former roommate, Josh Hurley?
I don't think so. Or actually, I think I do. That sounds really familiar.
He started a comedy project up in Idaho.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay. So Josh was the aforementioned roommate that we shared a bedroom for like 12 years. And I was like, please let me keep the lights on. So I've known Josh for years.
Awesome.
So he went out and got he's actually been a guest on the show before. He went out and got a VR system like 2 years ago. And
cool.
Like, if there is a thing that is going to get me into gaming, it is VR.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I had a PlayStation VR, and then when I built my PC, I upgraded to a really fancy Valve Index, and it is so cool. And I definitely recommend it, man. Some of the games are very just like what do you call it, gimmicky, because they're just like, look, we're VR. But then the Rogue Squadron one was insane. Yes, it's so fun.
I'll have to check it out. Nerdzone says, I hope that Rogue One is totally separate from anything we've seen so far. I think you mean Rogue Squadron is totally separate from anything we've seen so far and isn't directly related to the larger trilogies. In all honesty, Nerdzone, I'm pretty sure that that's the direction that Kathleen Kennedy kind of wants to take Lucasfilm in. We've spent 30 plus years telling the Skywalker saga. Or various permutations of it. I think that's kind of what the fans want at this point. I know not everyone, myself included, loved how the Skywalker saga ended. That's a whole other conversation for another day. But I do think that, Lucasfilm has been very vocal in saying that they want to tell other stories. Like, this universe, this galaxy is so huge. There's so many different corners. Why does everything have to be tied in to the Force? Why does everything have to be tied into Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and Han Solo? So, I have a feeling that this is going to be its own thing. Watson?
Yeah, I hope so, because I feel like I mentioned earlier, personally, that's been kind of my favorite takes, is seeing the and not that I wasn't like, I did really enjoy the other three movies of the newer saga, but I'm more interested in, hey, this is an entire universe of stories that we can tell, and so let's focus on them. And I love Rogue Squadron. I think it's a great idea, so I'm very excited.
Agreed. Nerdzone says the actor of Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014 and its sequel went on a podcast and talked about his bad history with Paramount. Nerdzone, can you send me the link to that? Because I assume you read it somewhere on the internet. Can you find me the link to that? I would like to make that a topic on next week's show. Yeah, I'm very interested in that. But I think we can all agree, like, Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles just didn't work very well for anyone. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I again didn't have huge hopes, because I am not the biggest Michael Bay fan. There's some great. I mean, technically, Quiet Place wouldn't have happened without Michael Bay. He's a producer on there, but I think that's more on John Krasinski and family,
Sure.
and writers. But but I was not a huge fan of that series, and I think it did maybe come down to just a lot of. I mean, I don't really know too much. I've seen both movies though,
Yeah.
and
Well,
so,
I think Michael Bay.
They
I'm not going to say that Michael Bay gets a bad rap, because I think he's earned his reputation. However, he has made some great films in the past, like really great movies in the past. The Rock is the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh yeah. For sure.
What was the airplane one? Con Air.
Con Air. Yeah.
You know, I know.
Yeah, he definitely deserves the credit that he has. I think there's just some things where it's like that are a little more motivated by, and I don't know him, so who knows?
Yeah.
I don't want to speak too ill.
Transformers kind
You
of.
got to make a living.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Moving on. Keith Foster kid. Why did I just scroll away from this? Oh, that wasn't Nerd Zone that said, I hope Rogue won. Oh, that was Keith Foster. Oh, my apologies, Keith. You know Keith. I know Keith. Okay. Sorry. Woo! Pardon me. Again, this is my trick. If anybody has to sneeze anywhere in public, I even recommend in your home, sneeze into your t-shirt. It keeps all of your germs contained. And then just go wash your clothes. Don't be a filthy human. Keith Foster says, I understand that no one sets out to make a bad movie, and I agree with that. I am also much more forgiving of bad franchise movies than I used to be. I'm going to skip over Nerd Zone's comment for a second and go, because it looks like Keith's making a point here. Where did we go? Used to be, odds are if something is bad, they can course correct, like Wolverine, or reboot altogether. That being said, it's still frustrating when something looks good on paper to the people involved, but everyone else can see it's a bad idea. Yes. That's a great point.
Yeah. There's plenty of trailers that come out that you're just kind of like, I think I get more hurt when I see an awesome trailer and I'm like, whoa, this looks so good, and then I'm disappointed. But I do get what he's saying of like, there is some things where you're just like, oh man, this just does not feel good. This does not feel good. And yeah, especially when it's a franchise that you love and that you're super pumped for.
Or especially like something, let's take Spider-Man 3, for example. Something that they built up in the first two movies, or even X-Men 3. X-Men 3, the Last Stand, the studio had no faith in the first film. And it was a huge success. And they said, okay, well, that was a fluke. If you want to, okay, it made money. We'll give you money to go make another one. Maybe we'll have another success on our hands. And guess what? That made even more money than the first one. And now they have, and now 20th Century Fox is looking at this franchise and saying like, wow, we didn't believe in X1 or X2. So we really need to get behind X3. And they started studio interfering and didn't let Bryan Singer do what he does best. tell good stories.
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
totally they pushed him out. He quit. He went off to go do Superman Returns. Brett Ratner takes the fall. I think Brett Ratner did the best that he could with a bad situation. He took a fall for that. Really hurt his career, like really bad.
Yeah. And it just kind of sucks that those kind of things happen because, and I feel like we're getting better. Like, I do feel like companies are realizing, like, oh, maybe we should have a little more faith in our, and maybe it does have to do with superhero movies because they do seem to be the brunt of, but I mean, I have heard Warner Brothers, like I heard they let James Gunn basically make his movie and had almost zero interference, which is a big switch from the first Suicide Squad because according to who was it who directed
David
that one?
Ayer.
Shoot, there you go. Yeah, like we're super like interfered with him, and they super like according to him, and they cut out tons of footage, and I don't know. It's so I hear that they are getting better at that. Although I can't really speak about Sony, but we'll see. I think it's too early to know about with Sony.
Let's see. We skipped a comment from Nerd Zone up above. He said, I should have mentioned Avi Arad during that Spider-Man movie rant. Okay, yeah, so that helps your case a lot, Nerd Zone. That mentioning Avi Arad like hugely benefits your case in that Sony, and in that way, it's not Sony that's ruining the Spider-Man films or is credited with ruining the Spider-Man films. It was Avi Arad, because Avi Arad, I think we can all agree, has a huge love for Spider-Man. He loves Spider-Man, and he wants to make the best version of Spider-Man that he knows how to make. Is he a talented producer? Objectively, yes. Look at his the body of work that he has behind him. Objectively, he is a good producer. But just like any great director, and I take Steven Spielberg and Alfred Hitchcock and who did Back to the Future?
Robert
Zemeckis. I put all these guys in the same boat. At some point, you're not the same director that you used to be. You're not the same producer that you used to be. And the top of your game, you're not at the top of your game anymore. And you keep trying to climb up the ladder. And the faster you climb up, the further you fall. And I feel like that was the case for Avi Arad. And he realized very quickly, very early on, that his involvement with the Spider-Man movies was fading and not as good as it used to be, and he just kept creating a bigger and bigger mess. So yes, to your credit, Nerd Zone, I think that helps your case.
Yep, totally agree. I think I have another plane flying over me. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's the X-Jet.
I'm just going to ignore them from now on.
That's the X-Jet.
Yeah, there
right
you
now.
go.
Yep.
They're coming.
Blackbird.
Yep, they're coming for me. Yeah, and that's just a big problem in Hollywood in general, is just like power shifting. And there's a great book called Disney at War. Have you read that, Mike?
Disney at War? No, huh?
Oh, it's so
What's
good.
What's it about?
It's about Michael Eisner mostly, but it does just it gives a great insight into who actually makes decisions, who gets the chopping block when decisions don't work, and it's kind of terrible because sometimes people who literally it is not their fault, they get the chopping block because the person who did make that call was over them, and they're not going to get fired.
Brett Ratner.
So yeah, there you go.
All right, let's jump back in here. Where'd we go? Keith Foster. Nerd Zone says, by the way, new Tom Holland suit. Thoughts? I don't like it, and it just adds Doctor Strange powers. Can we just get a classic story with no one to help him? I know that's been a huge... actually, I think Keith Foster is commenting on Nerd Zone's comment. He says, I agree with Nerd Zone. The frustrating thing about MCU Spider-Man is that he doesn't feel like he is his own hero, but more of an open template for other heroes. Nerd Zone says, yeah, Keith Foster, he's meant to be independent. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. That's one of the biggest criticisms of Tom Holland's Spider-Man right now, is that he's not his own character. He is other people's characters. And even though he gets his own movies, like Homecoming, Far From Home, and now No Way Home, he's a part of a larger universe that he needs to play into. His Spider-Man suit came from Tony Stark. He didn't create it himself. Even though he did create the web technology, it was perfected by Tony Stark. Same thing with Far From Home, with, you know, the Edith glasses. You know, same thing. Like, he didn't have the technology. And also, like, why did Tony Stark give a child, like, this ridiculous, like, nuclear weapon level technology? Like, that's a terrible idea. But anyway, like, he doesn't get to have his own solo stories. It would be interesting to see maybe like a prequel movie with Tom Holland, to see what life as Spider-Man was like before he was inducted into Civil War. That would be kind of cool. I mean, we'd have pajama Spider-Man, but yeah.
Hey, it's fun. Yeah.
But no, I have not seen. Actually, let me look this up real quick. What are your thoughts on this new suit, if you've seen it? I'm going to look up the new suit because, admittedly, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I think one thing to be wary, because I believe if I'm not mistaken, these are the leaks that have happened because of toys of his new suit. So sometimes those toys aren't exactly the version that we do get in the movie, but sometimes they're close. So I think we got to take it with a grain of salt. But to me,
Oh, Watson, we're losing you. Where'd you go? Oh, no. Halfway into that thought. Watson, you still there, buddy? Oh, man. It looks like something got gummed up with the Skype call here. So I do apologize for that. Let's see if we can get Watson back on the line. You know, it's weird because I can, even though I hung up the call with Watson, I can still hear bits and pieces coming through. So we're still waiting on the connection to get Watson back. Here's what I was able to pull up. So here's Spider-Man No Way Home. Here's some toys going on. Let's see if we can zoom in on this a little bit. This is just one of the toys. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's nothing crazy about the costume here. This looks very similar to the costume that Spider-Man had in Infinity War and Endgame. Let's consult a few others. What's going on here? So, okay, so it looks like in this Funko Pop, Spider-Man has a Doctor Strange web shooter, it looks like. Not sure what that's all about. Sorry, I'm calling Watson back. He just messaged me and I'm trying to call him at the same time. We'll see what happens if he picks up. But yeah, like this is I don't know what to make of this. Watson, you are back, good sir. How you doing? I don't know what happened to the connection, but you're back.
Connection. I apologize. Thank you.
Sorry, you were in the middle of talking about us to kind of temper our expectations with this new costume.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that. Yeah, I mean, there's been quite a few like costumes that I haven't exactly super loved, but I think at the end of the day, I don't know if a terrible costume is going to make the movie awful. So to me, it's not super important. But I can understand why it's important for other people. But I still think the movie could be really awesome, even if the costume's not maybe amazing.
Now, the image that I currently have on screen, is this one of the toy leaks that you were referring to?
So there's this one, but then there's like some cover art on the side of like a toy. I think it's this toy, but it's like on the side of it,
Side of the box.
that like has him doing his thing. So
Gotcha.
that's what people are saying is the leak. But yeah, gotta take it with a grain of salt because that also just looks a lot like the Tony Stark one that was given already. But we'll see.
I agree. All right, let's jump back into the comments real quick. Let's see. Keith Foster, yada, yada, yada. Nerd Zone says, Alex, let's talk about Sonic, man. I can't wait for Sonic Colors Ultimate and Sonic 2022. Looks like a step in the right direction. You got slapped in the right direction.
Yeah, it definitely does. And as long as we don't see Sonic make out with a human, I'm in. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Mike, but so he didn't make out with it, to be fair. But there was a moment, there was a human girl. I think this was 2 Sonic games ago. There's a human protagonist that was helping Sonic, and there's a moment where Sonic dies, and in order to bring him back, she kisses him, and it's like, that is awfully weird, man. And not on the cheek or anything. It was right on, full front kiss.
I'm sorry. You say that would be weird. I would love to see that in a movie.
Well, okay. Maybe it'll happen.
I mean, you can't deny that would be a little controversial. Like, people would be talking about that. If you put that in your movie, people would talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, put it in your game and people will talk about it.
It's like in the Venom movie when it's the only sound bite of that anybody ever quotes, like a turd in the wind. It's the equivalent of that.
Yeah, that's
how I see it.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog, like a turd in the wind. Keith Foster says, yeah, I don't mind a crossover for Spider-Man once in a while, but I think it's past time to let MCU Spidey grow up a little. I mean, I like seeing Spider-Man. I like the high school Spider-Man. But I mean, yeah, there's plenty of other stories, and time will allow for other incarnations of Spider-Man to graduate high school, and I don't know. I agree with Keith there.
I think though that kind of going back to when we were talking about like they do want to make things different. I think we did kind of see a Spider-Man grow up in the first 2. Yeah, it was high school and college, so maybe that's already grown up. That's, I guess, up for debate. But and I would really like to see this Spider-Man more grounded in New York. But then the trade-off is you can't really connect him with this other universe, And so, again, I think in 10 or 20 years we'll get another Spider-Man and we'll get another rebooted thing probably, and maybe we'll get to see more of that. But yeah, I think there has to be trade-offs. But I totally agree with you, and I would love that in this, especially, I don't know, yeah.
I really want to see Silk, personally. That's who I want to see. Silk is my favorite of all the Spider-Man incarnations. Anyway, Keith Foster saying, Ben Schwartz, shade, spill the tea, Mike. I mean, I don't have any tea to spill, really. It's just like, like when you cross paths, again, like Louis C.K., New York comedian, every now and again you cross paths with him. Like we all knew who Louis C.K. was before the media knew who Louis C.K. was. And like when all the news broke after Bill Cosby, like we all just kind of went like, "Oh, you're surprised by this?" So I mean, not that I have any shade or stories to tell about Ben Schwartz. He's just, I don't know. I just like his personality, my personality. Here, because I've thought about this. It's quite possible that our personalities are exactly the same, and for that reason, we negate each other. And so maybe it's because I'm a version of him and he's a version of me, and that's why I don't care for him as a performer. But like he just strikes me in a weird way. That's it. That's all it is. Oh dear, Nerd Zone. What are you doing to me? Nerd Zone says, if John Boyega was in Sonic 2 with Ben Schwartz, Mike, would you just not? You guys are dead to me. You guys are dead to me. No. Not so. Okay, so Watson, here's. Let me catch you up on this whole thing.
Okay.
We have another long watcher of the show, Redacted 83, also lives in England. Okay. Redacted 83, long ago, started some beef with me, in response to, what's his name? Black Panther when he died. Chadwick Boseman. When Chadwick Boseman died. I had a short list for who I thought should replace Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. And Redacted 83 said that he wants to see John Boyega reprise the role of Black Panther. To which I said, I don't see it. Because John Boyega is not... He's an okay actor, but he's not Chadwick Boseman level actor. Like, he's not...
Oh, sure.
He's okay. He did a decent job, I guess, in the Star Wars movies. He did a better job in the movie Detroit, but he's not like an A-list actor. He's kind of an A-list actor, but he's not like Oscar caliber, right? In my opinion.
Sure.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So Redacted 83 took this to mean, oh, Mike hates John Boyega. And it's just been this friendly fight back and forth. And now it would appear that Nerd Zone is getting in on the fun. So Nerd Zone, you can go. Well, I can't say it. You can go Baby Yoda yourself. I don't know what else to say there. Nerdzone says, I never was a fan of Superman. He was never relatable, and I find that weird considering my favorite hero was Dr. Manhattan. Well, let us not forget that Dr. Manhattan is not a straight up hero. He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He does what his conscience believes is keeps status quo, right? First and foremost. Just so we understand, like, he's not necessarily a hero. But yeah, you're completely spot on with Superman. He's not